Okay guys, well the time has come to get on with this VW Transporter T5 project. I can't put it off any longer. It is so daunting though. I mean, I've done this is my 5th conversion I think, and whenever you start these, when it looks like this, where it's just a little jamboree of nothingness, it's always really daunting, because you just think, I've got so much work to do. I've got to do the floor, I've got to do the ceiling, the sides, the seats, the insulation, the soundproofing. The list just goes on and on. I mean, the list of parts I've bought and parts I need to buy is just getting longer by the day, and of course the costs are spiraling out of control, as they always do. Anyway, today we are going to start. We're going to make a little start anyway and see what we can get done today. I have got pretty much everything I need, although I am waiting for the ply lining kit and the floor lining as well, so we're not going to get that done today. What we are going to try to do though is get some of the insulation and the sound deadening in, as I said, so bear with me. I'll stick on a tripod and we'll crack into that. So I guess the first thing we need to do is actually empty this van of all the crap that's inside it, so we can see exactly where we need to start, and then we'll crack in from there, I guess. Okay, well that's looking a bit cleaner, isn't it? We have still got to do, I have still got to do something with this corner over here as well, where the wood doesn't quite meet, and there's another little bit there, if I can point the camera down. Just there's a little bit missing, which I'm not quite sure what to do about. Now, bearing in mind, we are going to have seating all around here, so I don't think it's a huge issue, but I might have to find another bit of board like this, same sort of thickness. It looks to be maybe 5mm, 6mm, something like that, and then basically just cut a piece just for that section over there. But we'll do that when we get into the floor. Today we are going to be concentrating on the ceiling panel and the side panel. So effectively, let's just move this camera up a second. There we go, that's better. So effectively what we're going to do today is get rid of all the panels, i.e. that panel there, these lower panels, this lower panel here, and of course the roof panels. So first panel off, and as you can see, all of a sudden we've got insulation. So I don't know why somebody's done that, if I'm honest. It's just that nasty loft insulation, so I'm assuming it's probably under all the other panels, may even be up in the roof. So I'm going to have to deal with that now. So off to get a bin liner so I can wrap up all this nasty itchy loft insulation here, because we're going to be putting in recycled plastic bottles to kind of give it more of an eco vibe here. More work, see, this is what I mean. When you get into these jobs, you suddenly see bits you hadn't kind of anticipated, and then it costs you more time, but hopefully not more money. All right, let's get this insulation out. So as predicted, of course, there was insulation all in the bottom of this bit here, so we've had to take it out of here and obviously out of here as well. A nice big sack of really itchy, nasty loft insulation. But it had to go. I mean, I'm sure some people would have said just leave it in there, it's not doing any harm, it's obviously got insulation, so just leave it be. I don't really want to leave it in there, if I'm honest, because it's nasty stuff. I don't know what the situation is with damp control with this old kind of loft insulation stuff, as you can see on the floor here. So I just figured better option would be just to get it out, use what I know is brand new and works and doesn't create a kind of a vapor issue, should we say, with damp, and just get rid of it. And I've also found out, I think, why the reversing sensors don't work. I mean, that's part of it, obviously. That's the little alarm thingy, that's not plugged in. This little box here is obviously part of it, that's not plugged in. This obviously comes from the front of the car and has got a connection on the end, that's not plugged in. These little connectors here, I'm assuming they're supposed to be plugged into a box of some description, and they're actually connected to the parking sensors. They're not plugged in. These aren't plugged in, so something's missing. Someone's taken out the control box by the looks of things for the reversing sensors. Bit of an odd one, but I'm not even going to worry about that, to be fair. I think you can see enough out of this van. I might put a reversing camera in and just have done with it. So onwards and upwards. We've done one side and it's taken me 20 minutes already. Got to do the side door, got to do this side, got to do this lower side, and got to get this roof out as well. It's all go. So we're making progress, guys. As you can see, it's been a bit of a nightmare, truth be told, getting all this insulation out. I mean, it literally was all over here, down in here, in the doorway here. They had some of this block insulation as well. I can't remember what it's called, to be fair, but they had some of that in there, and that was a bugger to get out as well. It's itchy, it's nasty, it's giving me a cough, and I should have worn a mask, but you live and learn, I guess, in that respect. But it's out. So now we are going to basically try to get all this roof lining. I don't imagine there's going to be any insulation in there. I don't understand why there was any insulation in here in the first place, to be fair, because it was a fleet van for a haulage company, so I'm not quite sure why somebody put in a crappy reversing camera and then took out the box for it, and I'm not quite sure why they put insulation in badly, but it is what it is. So let's crack on with this roof lining, and then with a bit of luck we are done for the day, and I can see what's going on up there. We might fit the roof rails, so let's get into this. So all the old insulation is out, as you can see. The roof's out, the sides are out, all the ply lining's out, all the bits of crap are out of the van, and we can start afresh. Obviously I'm going to have to wipe down all these panels. It does have a very minimal amount of sound deadening in here. I'm basically going to add to that. I think what I'll do is I'll just put some strips in here and here on all these full sections, and the same here, because it does actually have some, so I don't want to rip that out and put new stuff in. I don't really think it's going to make that much difference, but if I cut out sections here, here and here, I can just basically, and maybe another little bit in the middle or something. I'm not sure. I'm going to basically work it out as I go along, as you often do with these projects. I have unplugged, obviously, the little lights for the ceiling lights here. What I do sometimes is I will use that power source then to have an internal light that will go on when you open the doors, because I do like to have that, as well as the down lights, which will work off a dimmer, which we'll talk about another time. But if I stick in an LED up here, a proper 72 bank LED here, and use this power source here to wire that in, and basically it'll work as it did before. When you open the door, the light will come on, and when you close it, it'll go off. So if you're not actually spending any time in the van, you can just go out to it and get what you need, and the light will go on and off as it was designed to do. And if you're spending any time in the van, then obviously you're going to have all your down lights up here with a dimmer switch. But as I said, we'll talk about that another time. I'm going to go in and have a nice cup of coffee now, because I have learned a valuable lesson in doing these kind of things. You can get kind of overloaded, so I think the best thing you can do once you start a project like this is do an hour, take 15-minute break, do another hour or two, take another 15-minute break, come back fresh eyes, and that way you don't make mistakes, you don't get despondent, you just kind of come out, as I said, with fresh eyes. So I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee, then I'm going to come back. We're going to discuss this floor. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. It's got to come up at some point, because we've got some insulation from Vandalise to put down underneath here. But as I said, I've got to work out what to do with this little section here first. But anyway, I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee, and then we're going to pop back in about 15 minutes when I've refreshed a little bit and decide on a plan for the rest of the day, effectively. So we're pretty much ready to start thinking about this DoDo Super Liner and the sound deadening and vibration control pack that was sent out kindly. Links for this obviously will be in the description, and I'll whack a little kind of picture up here somewhere in a second. But this came from DoDo Mat, really kindly sent this out. I'm so appreciative of that. They've been sponsoring this kind of project for us, which is always super helpful. Not something I've ever used. I've tended to use the kind of double bubble wrapped aluminium kind of sheeting for this kind of stuff, so I don't know what to expect from here. And I've never used any of the sound deadening, but we're going to use some of that. In hindsight, what I might do is just, because you're supposed to, in theory, cover 50% of the space with the sound deadening. I don't want to take this off, so what I might do is try and come up over here and like so, and then basically encapsulate this cheap bit of that sound deadening here on each panel, obviously all the way around, and we'll see how we get on from that. Anyway, I'm going to open up these boxes, see what we get inside. As I said, I've not used this before, so we'll get them open and have a look and see what they've sent out. Well, effectively, we have got a massive roll of this sound deadening here, as you can see. We will cut this off in sections, as you would expect to, I guess. And we have got, I keep saying we, I mean, I have got a little roller as well, which you're supposed to use for these. I bought what I thought would be the best one. I'll bring it in a second and let you have a look at it. But in hindsight, I don't think that was actually the one I really wanted. I should have bought a kind of a more of a plasticky one, but I bought a metal one, brass one, I think it was, thinking that would be a better option. And in hindsight, I don't think that's going to work, but we will see. So that is the sound deadening, which is effectively going to go on all the sides here, and we're going to stick a little bit up here as well, although by the looks of it there's actually a fair amount of sound deadening already here. Whether that's factory or whether somebody's put that in, I don't know, but I'm going to try to put a little bit more in anyway, because the more sound deadening you have, the less noise you get, obviously. So time to get the super liner out as well and see what's in these boxes. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what's in there, but we'll open it up. So it's coming along nicely, as you can see here, guys, and before you start putting in the comments that I've put on far too much, yes, I know, but at the end of the day, you can't do any harm by putting more on, can you really? I mean, it's only when you put less on. As you can see, it's all down in the bottom there. It's always going to be a bit of a patchwork quilt when I do it, because that's just the way I work. I just find a space and I put some in, and it seems to work for me. The sound difference is pretty obvious. That's the whole ethos of this kind of sound deadening stuff. You put it in there, and it kind of just seals everything up. You see these little bubbles here? That's where one of those little tools there, if you see that little tool with the wooden handle there, that's your roller. Effectively what would happen, let's get in here and I can explain it a bit better. What happens is you get these little bubbles here. Now they're all full of air, obviously, as you can see when I push down on it. What you do is you put it on where you think you need to put it, and then you use this roller to roll out effectively all the air that's behind it. What that will do then is effectively create a sound barrier, so there's no vibration through that single panel up there. I could leave that as it is and it would probably do just as good a job as that bit over there. But as I've got a load of it left, and we spotted just now that we've got plenty on the ceiling as well, so we're not going to need as much as we thought. And I've also got some sound deadening down there somewhere, I think, for the floor. All we really need to do is this last panel here, and I've got so much of it, I am just plastering it on everywhere. Because you can, you know, as I said, you can't put too much of this on, so it's not really an issue. All we've got to do is this one down here, and it's got the factory sound deadening here, of course, but we're going to put in some little bits around the side here, as we have done there, plaster it in all over, make this a really nice, solid sounding van. We'll finish off a couple of bits on the roof, and then the sound deadening effectively will be pretty much done on the van, apart from the floor, where we've got this rubber matting, which I will talk to you about in another video. Anyway, let's crack on and do this last little bit over here, and then with a bit of luck, we'll actually be done for the day, and it'll be a good day. So that is it. The DoDo Mat sound deadening is in the van, and as you can see, I completely overdone everything, but that's purely because they gave me so much of the stuff that I just figured more is less, or less is more, and why not use it all, basically, because there was some up on the ceiling. We've actually done all the ceiling lines there as well. As I said, I know it's massive overkill, doesn't need to be like that. The general rule of thumb is 50% of the panel needs to have one of these sheets over it, and that should be enough then to basically sound deaden it and give it much more of a thunk instead of a tinny sound. We've done the sliding doors, you can see. I've done all these side panels here. We've done the ceiling, and we've done this side over here. I'm just about to do the barn doors as well, because there's a little bit of space in there, so I'll do that. And at some point, and probably in the next video, I'm assuming, we'll get this floor up, and I'll use some of this rubber sound deadening matting that we got from Vandalized as well. I'll stick a link for that into this video and to the next one as well, because I've never used that before and I want to see what that's all about. Big shout out to Vandalize for sending that out, much appreciated. And of course a huge shout out to DoDo Matting. I'm sure you will have heard of them if you've done a van or if you're thinking of doing a van. I think they're pretty much the go-to people for getting your insulation and your sound deadening and stuff, because they're just quality. This stuff has been a joy to use. It's been so easy to get in there, because effectively all it is kind of foil backed here. You just peel this off here and you stick it where you need to stick it, and you roller it with one of these fancy little tools here. Really useful. I would suggest you get one of those, because as I said, what you effectively need to do is push out all these air pockets here. So you stick it in and then you effectively just roller over it, making sure that you get all the air that might be trapped behind there. Get it all out. That gives you this, I mean, listen to that. That is some serious sound deadening up here. That is, I wish I'd done it before on the ceiling as well, but as you saw in the first part of this video, that is a solid van. I bet you could go out and buy a Transit Custom now, a brand new one, and it wouldn't be as sound deadened as this. But we're going to do the floor as well. That'll get rid of a lot of the road noise as well, with a bit of luck. And then, of course, as I said, we're lifting up this floor, doing the floor here. We are going to then head off to Tor Point to get a ply lining kit. From there, that'll include a one-piece roof liner, one-piece side here, and a couple of bits for over here. And then we can start thinking about the carpeting, which is probably the hardest part. But we've had a good day. Basically, the project has started. That always makes you feel a bit better if you get a good day under your belt. And basically, that is one of the harder jobs, technically speaking, done and out of the way now. Although, as I said, this DoDo matting is a joy to use. It's taken probably about 3 or 4 hours to get all of this done, so it's not a whole day. It's not overly taxing. This stuff, as I said, is peel, plonk it on, pop out all the air bubbles using that little roller down there, and you're away and good to go. In the next video, we will get this floor up. We'll sound deaden that as well, and we'll see about the ply lining, and maybe get the roof rails up as well. It's basically, I come out and I decide what I'm going to do that morning, what I feel like doing, and what's here all ready to go. So if you want to follow this story along, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, a like and a share, all that good stuff. We will be back in probably a couple of weeks when we get this floor up, we get the ply lining sorted out, and we then have a look at the carpeting maybe as well, because I've got all the carpeting here, and you can give me your opinions on my colour scheme for the roof and the sides, and whether I should actually even carpet the roof. There's another quandary that I want you guys to help me out with. Should I just maybe stain the ply lining, or should I carpet it? Really haven't got a clue on that one yet. I am going to make this up as I go along, as I do with all my projects. Anyway, as I said, if you want to follow along too, then hit that subscribe button. It takes you a second, doesn't cost you a penny, and give the video a like as well, and a share if you could, and we'll catch up in a couple of weeks when we continue this lovely T5 project. All right guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up soon.